give a quick 30,000 foot view of who you are, what you're doing, and what you're trying to accomplish, cities and everything like that. Because most important piece, we're all just trying to create this opportunity club for people that are wherever they are, they can introduce themselves to other people around. So, Eric, start us off, man. Where you're at, what you're doing, everything like that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm in Granbury, Texas. Are y'all able to hear me okay?
Good.
Okay. Yeah, in Granbury, Texas, right outside of Fort Worth. I'm actually in real estate. I'm a real estate agent, been doing that for a little while. And I've had several investment properties, lots of Airbnbs, lots of uh single family stuff, some condo stuff, and but I've never really done the industrial warehouse. I have one building that is sort of a half warehouse, half office type place. Pretty small though, but definitely have been on like the one at a time, one a year, two a year type thing, just because of down payment money. And so what really brought me here was the whole concept of getting somebody to leave money in the deal and finding it for the right cap rate and using all the things like you guys have that has been super helpful. So and funny enough, I think Zane was going to say it, but I'll go ahead and say it since I'm introducing myself. Let's see. We started this about what 2 weeks ago, and we got our first deal under contract yesterday.
Holy shit.
It's not
It's awesome.
it's not an industrial warehouse. It's a 3,600 square foot kind of three bay off multi-use type space, and but the owner it's I'm gonna have these opportunities because I'm in real estate, but the owner I had this property listed for 595. He just like, man, I just need to sell it. I just need some cash flow. And I said, well, I'm a buyer, and I threw a number out there because I did the spreadsheet and got the cap rate to be right. And so I threw a number out there like 450, which is extremely low, 150K low. And he said, I can do 500. We landed on 490 with him,
Wow.
owner financing the down payment at
Dude,
5%.
let's go.
Called two banks, the banks wouldn't do it. They were like, hey, we'll do it, but you still have to bring cash no matter what, no matter if they're financing a deal or not. You have to bring cash. And I was like, nah, these guys told me I didn't have to, so I'm gonna go find somebody. So
There we
I
go.
called a really small bank in a really small town from a guy that I met one time. And he last night I sent him the deal, I showed him the spreadsheet, and he was like, wow, this is impressive. Man, I think we want to do this deal. So we signed the contract last
Dude,
night. Here we
congrats.
are.
That's sick. Let's
Thanks.
go.
Appreciate it.
Dude,
I'm
that's
fired up for
awesome.
sure.
Congrats, man. That's sick.
Thanks a
And
lot. Appreciate
if
it.
the name of the game is who gives a shit? If you like, there's 10,000 chartered banks out there. Like, you only have to have
Yeah.
one of them say yes. You know what I mean? So
Yep, for
that's awesome,
sure.
man. Congratulations. That's sick. No,
Thanks a lot. Appreciate
that's
it.
a great testimonial right there, man. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank
Uh
you.
Also, we have another guy that's newer here. Hector Flores is on here. Hector, if you don't mind, I'd like to just kind of do the same thing that Eric did. Maybe hope that you've got a deal that you've already closed. Who knows? Or maybe close. But no, Hector,
Yeah,
introduce yourself, man. So happy to have you.
yeah. Thanks a lot, man. Yeah. I'm Hector. I'm actually based out of the Houston, Texas area. Yeah, literally just joined this week. So no, don't have the deal yet. Wasn't aware we had to bring a deal already. But hey, Eric, great job on that one, man. Yeah, gets everybody else blood flowing. So that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, I've been single family, same thing. Just kind of dabbling here and there. I actually, still got a job. I'm a construction manager in a residential pool company. So we kind of deal with a little bit of everything, and build quite a few pools every year. But yeah, just I'm always interested in the real estate, advantages and that creative financing, man. I mean, that's out of the park. I mean, that's just thinking that way, and then right now, just like thinking, hey, you know what, man? There's plenty of banks out there. There's a lot of different ways to get this done, and just being exposed with you guys and the team that you guys have put together, and basically sharing your knowledge. I mean, that's my biggest thing. Definitely excited about that, and hopefully, yeah, I think that bar has been set. I don't know. I mean, what is it? 2 weeks for Eric? Man, that's quick. Man, that's crazy. So,
That might be yeah, sure, that's amazing. Sure, that's a lot faster than Zane or I or anybody else, I think. So congratulations on that. Need to give him
for sure,
like one of those an award or something.
man. You got to
No,
get a T-shirt at least, man. At least.
that's
So
I
right.
like
for
it. I
No,
sure.
like it.
We'll send you
Yeah.
guys both t-shirts, at least from the event. From we got a lot left over, so we'll have to put those in the mail for you guys. That'd be great. Hey, also too, I
Awesome.
was speaking with this will benefit everybody. I was speaking with Caleb. It's like EDIB, or I don't know if Caleb's on here or not. I don't see Caleb on here. Well, either way, Caleb's been on some of our calls. He's in Arkansas. He's moving to Canada for whatever reason. I'm not sure. Well, either way, he was asking about a deal that he's trying to do. And I kind of came up, I was like, we got this CRE collective contact page, right? I've even talked to Zane about this. This is just kind of what's on my mind. I was like, this makes a lot of sense. You know how we got the bankers, accountants, attorneys, brokers, everybody like that. What I'm going to do, and I think maybe we should open this up to everybody as I'm just kind of thinking it through. Anybody that you guys run with and anybody that I run with, let's just create a kind of a working document, a working spreadsheet of limited partners, people that have appetite to invest in projects. And anytime that you guys have a deal, anytime we have a deal, we can go to that. Everybody has a living, breathing one pager document of everybody that has appetite. And we can just come up with like, hey, name, email, sell, and amount that they have appetite to invest, right? Like some number, right? Who knows? Doesn't matter. It could be higher, it could be low. But at that point, when you guys have a project, instead of being like, hey, I'm trying to figure out the money, you have to go call your brother-in-law and hope that he can borrow against his mutual fund. Instead, we have a whole list of investors that, again, can grow and can shrink and get bigger, and people can reach out to individuals, a part of our group already, to if they want to invest. So I don't know. I just was coming up with that this morning, literally as I was talking to Caleb, and I was like, dude, we should. There's a lot of people that have cash, and if they do want to invest, we'll just put them a part of that list, and then from there, what we'll do is if we have 100 people and they all want to invest $100,000, that's what is that? $10 million of cash. Then what we can do is we can say, hey, we have one templated email that we send to everybody, and then whoever responds first gets a chance to invest. So I think it will just create agility when it comes to investing in projects that have been vetted and have been verified. So I'm truly just coming up with this off the top of my head from like that conversation I had this morning with Caleb. And I was like, why have I not thought about this already? So that's one thing that I've been working on today, is just compiling a list of all the people that I run with. And I would open this up to everybody else that, again, I'm not asking you to open your own phone book, but maybe if you have people that are looking for projects, that you can just put them on the list, and it's again, it becomes an opportunity club. So I'm working on that for everybody. I think hopefully it will just raise the opportunity to close deals. So that's my opinion. Zane, I'm putting you on the spot, but you got any thoughts as we kind of go into the call tonight?
No, I love that because actually a couple different members have come to me with just wondering if there's a way if we can work together with raising money in the first place. I think Will Clark is actually one of them, and I think Joey LeBranch also came
Nice.
to me about just kind of some limited partners that have a bunch of cash that they want to invest into deals, and we have a bunch of deals that we need investment for. So if you guys know people like that, then maybe you can throw in an acquisition fee in there, and maybe make a couple dollars off of it too.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I'm just thinking in my head that I run with some guys that are always looking to invest, and especially on vetted deals. So I think if we can use our blueprint and our pro forma as like our bottleneck for good deals that are coming through the pipeline, and when they actually receive that offer, I think it will lower the sales resistance, or most importantly, increase our opportunity to close deals. So just a thought there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool, Nolan. And then maybe like put somewhat of a process together, like a form that you submit to, like, hey, here's my deal. It's approved by the collective, like this is a solid deal, and then it could get shot out in a mass email to everyone that's involved in there. But 100%. The one thing I was gonna ask though is there anything that would go against like the legal side of just compiling this list and raising money? Because I know that there's like certain things that you have to do with accredited investors, like to market to them like that. Is there anything that you know of that might shoot us in the foot if we do it incorrectly?
Good question. And to be very, very clear, if you are not selling a security, if you are marketing, like if you're paying for advertisement and saying, hey, come and invest in my fund or my apartment syndication project, that is soliciting, and that is regulated by the SEC. That's by the Securities and Exchange Commission. You're being regulated when you go market out to the masses. If someone calls you and says, hey, honestly, Will, I'm your uncle. I would love to invest in one of your projects. I just hit the lottery. I just sold my sandal business, like whatever. I would love to invest in a project. You are not soliciting them. And also, how could they prove that, somebody that's a part of our group that we have not solicited, we have not marketed, we have not paid for advertisement to be a part of that? They would never be able to prove anything. But also, you're not offering securities. It's just it's a private investment among people that are already inside of your circle. So you would and you can talk to your own attorney about this. I've spoken with my own attorney about it like 10 different times because I came across that same question. Like, am I going to get in trouble with the SEC by marketing shares of some type of investment? It's not a marketable security if I'm not out there actually marketing for the investment. So it's only if your uncle calls you, or if your brother-in-law calls you, or you're talking about it at Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas and your uncle asks you, or even your idiot brother-in-law, it's all squared away. You're not soliciting for anything. That's according to my real estate.
Personal connection.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
exactly
personal
right.
connection.
And even if your
the
brother-in-law
terms.
asks even if your brother-in-law introduces him, you say, hey, let me introduce you to my dentist buddy. Like, that's not solicitation at all.
Yeah. And there's like an official term with SEC. It's called like family and friends, and it's different than raising money from accredited investors and selling securities. So going through your family and friends is like a totally different thing.
And I recommend just to for the disclaimer, like, talk to your own guy if you'd like. I can obviously recommend you to my guy. I don't want you to think that I'm misleading you whatsoever, but my
No,
attorney has
no.
told me
That
the
was just
same thing. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a good
I just
question
didn't
to
know.
ask though.
Yeah, I just didn't
You'll
know if
never be in trouble. You'll never be in trouble by talking to your friends and family about investment that you're doing. That is not solicitation, like absolutely whatsoever not. You are
100%.
not you are not paying ads on Facebook Marketplace. Like, you're not paying for advertisement. So just a thought.
Personal connection, reaching out because I'm compiling my list to start trying to raise money from, my personal connections.
Yep.
I know that definitely helps. I'm just watching a lot of YouTube and
Yeah.
guys talking about how to go about it, but absolutely, I mean, the friends and family makes total sense.
And one thing for everybody too, and Will makes a good point, when you're raising money, when you're trying to raise capital and everything like that, my best recommendation, I've said it in the past on other calls, you're not asking people for anything, especially when you have an opportunity and you got like even if you don't have a deal at the exact moment, you're talking about this generic but defined opportunity to invest in. You are offering them an opportunity. If we can if we shift our focus from, because I'm really including myself. I had like a fear to ask, and I've told that story before. I was asking all of my dad's and my parents' buddies, like, "Hey, would you invest with me?" And I got like 150 no's in a row because I was like asking them to invest, and I was just some kid trying to, invest in a duplex, right? Everybody said no because I was asking them. But when I shifted my focus to making an offer, it changes the perspective, and it changes the frame of the deal, to where then the person you're offering something to is receiving something versus giving something. Does that make sense? So like, instead of an individual giving you something as a general partner or a sponsor of a deal, instead they're participating in something, and it allows them to get a return. And it's really the same thing, but it's really a mindset shift regarding your limited partner or or your cash partner in that deal. So if we can remove the words ask and exchange it for the word offer, everybody will increase their opportunity to get more money to invest in their projects. Is that fair? Can we all remove the word ask and just exchange it for offer? So that's what I've discovered. And what you'll discover in your own life is when you're offering opportunities, even though somebody will say no, again, it will happen 100 times in a row. I've done this a couple of times, and this is the way that you do it. And I stole this from Russell Brunson. If you guys follow ClickFunnels and those kind of guys, I got like 100 no's in a row, and I'm not even exaggerating. I probably got 80 no's in a row. And I got one guy in town. His name is Rex Gingrich, and you can look him up in Kokomo, Indiana. He's a big player. And Rex invested in a project of mine. He made out. He's blessed. He's whatever. What I did, then I would call the next guy and I asked him, hey, are you okay if I use your name, like, and image, NIL basically. He's like, okay, sure, whatever. And I just said, hey, by the way, this is a project that I'm doing. Rex Gingrich is also investing in this project. And then the compound interest started talking and just going from there. So you don't even have to, that person doesn't have to know somebody. So like, for example, we're going to go over Richard's deal here shortly, the one that he's working on. Richard, if you're not opposed to that, I think we talked about that already. But when Richard has a project and he says, hey, we have Barbara Wing already investing in this project, who's a part of our collective, and using a hypothetical, but like, we're going to do this, the other. We already have this person investing in this project. Would you like to also invest? It just creates this momentum that's a part of it, where people want to be a part of a crowd. They don't want to be against the crowd. They don't want to be against the current. So it takes a little bit of, audacity and courage to make those calls and to hear those no's. But man, once you hear it a couple of times and you hear a yes and a yes, then you can start compiling those people that have said yes and use them as leverage to increase other people that you're calling to be a part of your crew too. That's what I've discovered. It's like, and you'll never be short of cash because everybody wants to be on the inside of a great deal with people that they already know, like, and trust. And then they say, no, they're on the outside. Because then, and I'll digress after this, but when you offer them something and say, hey, I'm offering you this opportunity that this person are already involved in, do you have any appetite to participate? They automatically want to say yes. And if they don't have the cash, or they're this, that, and the other, the problem's on the sideways, Nolan, the timing truly is off. I would love to be a part of it. Thank you. They always respond, thank you so much for thinking of me. And on the next deal that you do, please include me on that opportunity. Like, and then what you do, just put them on like your back burner and put them on your spreadsheet. And then what you'll discover is that you just build this list of all these people. And then what we talked about this maybe a couple of weeks ago, Zane was there, but then what you'll do is you have a project, and this is a little salesy, a salesmanship, but you have your 5 or 4 main people that invest in your project, and all the other 40 people that you send the email out to them anyway, and they respond back, hey, I'd like to participate. Hey, no problem. Sorry, the deal's already been funded. And knowing that you already had the deal funded anyway, but you still send it out anyway. And very simply, it just creates this urgency. And then you'll be able to have a much larger pool of capital to borrow or to partner with, without really having to risk reputation exposure, if that makes sense, without using any more vocabulary than that. Does anybody have a thought or question? Like, that's what I've discovered as like what works for me. And now I as a blessing, don't have like a shortage of cash when there's a deal or opportunity that presents itself. Does anyone have a thought or an opinion on that?
I had a question. When you first started reaching out to all these people, I get it was like your dad's friends and people within that community, but this big real estate player, for example, that was the first guy to invest with you. Like, how did you get in contact with him? Was it like a networking event? Was it through personal friends? Like, how were you getting your name out there?
The first deal that I did had nothing to do with that big Rex Ginger guy. It had everything to do with one of my dad's, like an insurance guy in town he's a real estate guy. His name is Nick Pate. I talk about him all the time on my real estate or all my videos. Nick Pate did me a solid and spent an hour with me and was like, the offer that I made him was like, look, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'll take action with the information that you give me. And I was buying houses at the time, right? I wasn't doing commercial like this. And very simply, I said, hey, if you just direct me on what to do, I'll take on the risk. I'll borrow the money. I'll put up the money. If you show me what to do, I'll split the profit with you 50-50. So I did a flip with him. And dude, it was like, I mean, dude, it was like I think I made like 4 grand. I mean, it was like silly. But I found the way through the entire process, right? I borrowed money from Community First Bank. I put up $7,000 as a down payment, which I borrowed from my dad, and then I borrowed money for the rehab, which was a second mortgage on the property, which is a little rinky-dink house in Kokomo. Nick Pate showed me how to actually rehab the property properly. We marketed it with another real estate agent. Like I did all the work, but I was able to see the whole thing through. We made like $16,000 in net profit after all the commissions and closing costs. And I split that with Nick Pate right down the middle. He didn't take any risk other than just spending time with me. So I would recommend that. And then candidly, what I did after that is again, kind of salesmanship. I just blasted that information to all of the other big players in town when I was in the off season, when I had time, as I would go say, this is a deal that I just did. And I broke down the numbers. I had like a 1-pager. And I said, this is what I just did with Nick Pate. And I blasted his name out there. Like I was using his name, image, and likeness. I was like, and he agreed to this. I wasn't doing anything that he wouldn't have already like been okay with. He wanted me to succeed, right? Same as all of your mentors. And I basically said, Nick Pate and I did this one deal. And again, he made $8,000 or $8,100. He didn't take any risk on it, but I just started walking around, went to the banks. I went to all the local banks. I had like this little manila folder out exactly how I did the deal. And I just had audacity. I didn't know what I was doing or what I was talking about. I just was just being like, I didn't know what I was doing. I just did it, I guess. It's kind of silly to look back at it. But after that, when I went and spoke with Rex, I just was calling everybody on my phone about another deal that I had. And I said, hey, remember that one thing that I sent you a year ago? I'm about to do another one. You want in or you want out? And it was a little more, not arrogant, but just directness, because I had done some more deals since then. But he was like, hey, I'm in. Let's just do it. I'm in. Let's go. So I didn't have to sell him at that point because I had shot him that 1-pager that had Nick Pate, State Farm Insurance on the top of it, and then outlined the details of how I did the deal. So in all, very, very simply, I guess, that was a lot smaller of a deal compared to what we're talking about now with commercial. But any way that you can get somebody else online with something that you're participating in and why your deal makes sense, you could probably preach about depreciation and why that makes sense for your investors and how they're going to save all this money in taxes on top of the cash flow that they're going to get, right? Like all the stuff that we talk about, that's what I've discovered is what works for me. Zane, do you have I don't want to put you on the spot, Zane, but like, do you have an opinion on that, or like how that kind of works in what we're doing here too?
I mean, I totally agree because pretty much every single investor that we talk to wants to see a previous deal. And if you already have all that stuff built out and made up on a PDF or a 1-pager or something that you
Right.
can see, you can show, this is exactly what was needed in cash. This is what we bought the deal for. If you guys on your pro forma go to the investor tab, you can have that little 1-pager right there and just use it for marketing your deals, first of all. But also, when you go do a deal, like the one that we're going to talk about with Richard in a second, he's going to be able to go and pitch that or show that to every other investor in the future for every single deal for the rest of his life. So I agree.
Yeah. Well, just saying, if anything else too, like you can always like not stretch the truth, but just be like, hey, look, this is what our group's doing. This is one of the deals that our group is doing, right? Or whatever. And you're going to be on the tiptoe of that deal, but it allows you to maybe get your foot in the door, versus some guy slamming your door in the face, that kind of thing. Is that fair to say? Well, I want to make sure I'm answering your question.
Yeah, I was more so talking about the networking side, like how you got in touch with those guys. But
I
I mean,
apologize.
it was all great info.
Well, okay, and I'll be brief on this too. On the networking side, I if I'm being transparent, I was a savage about making myself look like an idiot in front of other people. Like after I read that Rich Dad Poor Dad book, which I talk about all the time, I just was like, in the off seasons, I would I would go into all these attorneys, accountants, bankers, brokers. I would just walk into their offices, and I just didn't have any fear of people's opinion of me. I didn't care what they thought about me. And all I cared about was like, hey, who is doing deals? Who's doing deals? Oh, this guy over here. Hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? Can I just like ask you what you're doing? Like, and them knowing that I had no clue what I was doing. And I just would like, and then I would listen to the Bigger Pockets forums, and then I would, re-listen to the audiobook of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like I was just like doing all this stuff in the off season, but I would go into these offices, the title companies. Can you walk me through what is title insurance? I mean, I didn't know what it was. What is a second position mortgage? I didn't even know what a lien was up until like 2019. I didn't even know what a lien was. I didn't know what a claim was. Even though I was borrowing money, I didn't know there was a different word in regards to a lien. I didn't know what it was. So I say all that. I had this like I lowered my fear of other people's opinion of me, and I would just go into these people's offices and just introduce myself as a commercial real estate investor. Even though at the time I was doing residential. Now, you know, I may mention I printed out those like, business cards that said Nolan Sandberg, commercial real estate investor for like $20. I had like 100 of them printed, and I was handing them out to everybody. I did not own one commercial property. But at the time when I was doing residential, I was just like, I'm an investor. What do I need to do? Who do I need to talk with in order to buy my next deal? Who do I got to speak with? And I just didn't care about someone, kind of laughing at me or chuckling, or this guy doesn't have a clue, because everybody else was not doing it. I was the only one that was doing it. And I think that's what can make all of us different, is having a little bit of audacity to get over the fear of other people's opinion. I truly believe that, not directing this at anybody, but that's what was holding me back, was my fear of other people's opinion of me, because I was a big people pleaser. I'd go and do these stupid interviews after these baseball games, and I was like, oh, I had a great interview, so thankful for the opportunity to pitch tonight in this game, blah 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 blah. Oh, like, who gives a shit? Who cares? Like, nobody really cares. I got over that opinion, or that fear of other people's opinion, and it freed me up to truly be who I was. Now, this is philosophical, and I'll spare you, I'll digress, but that's what I recommend, is like doing something that's going to get you outside of your comfort zone. It's going to have to get some courage to ask questions that you don't know the answer to. Most of the time, almost every time, everybody in those offices is wanting to help investors like us, because it helps them, right? If we do more deals, helps them get paid, right? Commissions, policy loans, banks, or, bank loans. I mean, everything rolls because of us. I say it all the time. So, do something that's audacious and that takes a little bit of courage, and walk into somebody's office and ask to buy a cup of coffee. Dude, you're going to get 3 people that would love to sit down with you, like straight up and down. Fair to say?
Awesome. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, 1000%. All right, let's do this. Let's switch gears real quick. I like Richard. If you don't mind, Zane, if you would like to tee this up. Richard has been with our group, and I'll let Richard kind of explain this. Richard, are you on here? Or are you gone? I don't know. Maybe we can do this ourselves, I guess. But Zane, maybe you can tee this up for us. And give a there's Richard. Okay. Richard, if you don't mind giving like a 2-minute, 90-second backstory of who you are and what you're doing and how you like joined our group, but then, man, like what you're doing now, dude. Like you're on fire. I mean, he's got like almost a $2 million deal under contract, none of his own money in the deal. I mean, it's amazing. So Richard Brewer, please take the floor if that's okay.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
You can, man.
Yep.
Thank you.
So I'm not even close to what Eric did. That's pretty impressive, Eric.
Yes.
I jumped in. I went to the first live event last year in September. I joined that same week, so I jumped in with both feet and been working. I've had several deals under contract in the last year, but for different reasons, they just didn't go through. Situations like we found a problem with the building or whatever, or financing didn't happen. But in this particular case, I actually found it in Birmingham. I'm in the Atlanta area, about an hour and a half northeast of Atlanta. Was in Atlanta in that market for about 30 years, but got the heck out of Dodge and got out of the big city up in the mountains now. But anyway, so I found that deal. It's a $1.5 million deal. We have it under contract now. And I think Zane and I talked about maybe just walking through phase two of the blueprint, kind of the due diligence items that I'm working on right now. Right, Zane? And so,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's this group has been immeasurably helpful. Zane and Nolan have been amazing, just always there to help with any kind of information I needed. I've never done a deal, not a commercial deal, so this is all brand new for me too. I don't know what I'm doing. When you were saying that a minute ago, Nolan, I was like, I know that feeling quite well. If it weren't for you two, I'd be lost in the dark. So thank you so much. But so far so good. Knock on wood. We've got a limited partner that's bringing in the down payment.
Yep.
The seller did not want to leave money in the deal, so Nolan and I talked about it. There just wasn't enough money in the deal for Nolan. It made sense for him to jump in. So we found another investor to get in here with us, and she's in California. She's part of our group, and she's been excellent to work with so far. So that's a quick and dirty. Zane, you want to kind of guide it from there?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we can go over all the details of how you found the deal and all that stuff and on another call maybe. But for right now, since you're under contract, newly under contract, well, since last week, is that right?
The 26th of November. Yep.
Oh, okay. So, you're under contract. You've done some of the due diligence stuff already so far. You're lining up the financing. You're lining up all the stuff that's involved with getting the limited partner involved, which is actually kind of an extensive process, especially if they have to go and check stuff with their team and all this. So I wanted to just basically go through phase two of the blueprint, which is everything after receiving the accepted LOI, and go down the list, see kind of what you've done so far, and then Nolan or if anybody else has some like maybe holes to poke, then that'd be great if we could just like help Richard um, figure out what he needs to do next and make sure that he's crossing all his T's and dotting all of his I's.
That'd be
So
helpful. Yeah.
why don't we start just like at, step 14, accepting the LOI, and we'll just go down the list here all the way down, to closing, and we can just kind of speed through it, and just
Yeah.
tell us
So
the story about each of the steps.
I think I'm looking at an outdated blueprint, but yeah. So
Make it a
I'll
little
just
bigger,
kind of walk
Zane, if
through.
you don't mind. Make the thing like
Yeah.
150, yeah, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
It's good.
Yeah, that'll be helpful.
And I even
Um,
have LASIK, so yeah.
So Richard, we can go, I guess since my screen sharing, we can kind of go through this
Yeah.
one.
Okay, that's
But
fine.
we have a couple different ones, but first just walk us through kind of like the LOI process, and I guess just your relationship with the seller and how that kind of went down.
Yeah, so my broker's out of Atlanta, and this seller's been very workable. We just skipped the whole LOI process, went right to the purchase sales agreement because we agreed verbally on a price. We went back and forth a couple times, and this is coming in at a little over a 10 cap. It's 1.5 million is the purchase price. They wanted 1.7. We got them down to 1.5. Originally, they were at 1.4, but they've got a tenant in there, and so that got the price up a little bit. So that's where we are now. So we went right to the PSA and got that executed. I've been working on today getting quotes on the insurance. I've got a broker in Birmingham and one in Atlanta that I'm working with. They're both getting me quotes right now. I'm just gonna see who looks the best.
Who's your guy in Birmingham, Richard?
It's actually a gal. It's Jana Baker. Do you know her?
Oh no, Jana. Okay, it's fine. No, I don't care.
she
I'm
ex-
curious.
Yeah, she actually works with Greg at LLH
Okay, cool.
on some other real estate stuff. So that's how I found her.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So I was introduced to Brian Cloud at the event. He was there last year too, I think maybe. I'm not sure, but he is the attorney that's working on everything. He helped me set up my LLC. We got the Barbara Wong is the limited partner with me that's bringing the down payment. She got us her LLC information. She had to put together one as well. So we drafted that into a partnership agreement. She just signed it, and I got that today. Zane, I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. So the agreement has been agreed to. And the attorney's on board. He's drafting everything up for us. I assume we're going to use Brian to close. I think the seller has an attorney too, but I think, I'm going to push for Brian to do that.
You're gonna run
I
with
don't know that-
Millennial too, Richard?
Millennial was the bank. They're the lender.
Nice.
One of the things that one of the bumps I ran into is I didn't know this, but the lender asked me, Millennial, they said, "Hey, tell me about the ownership arrangement." I told him we were doing 50-50 partnership. And he said, "Well, our bank requires that if any partner has more than 20% ownership, they need to be on the note." So that kind of scared me at first because I'm not sure if Barbara would want to do that since she's bringing the down payment. But today she said, "Okay, I'll get that information for the lender." So he asked for some financials on
That's
her.
not uncommon. That's not uncommon for everybody to know.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Anytime a limited partner is on more than 20%, the bank's gonna quote unquote require them to be on that mortgage. But I was just talking with another guy, and I don't mean to steal this thunder, Richard, but I
No,
know
go
that
ahead, please.
when, just to be clear, and another one of my bankers would attest to this, he's the one that told me this, that truthfully, a personal guarantee is words on a paper, right? Like at the end of the day, the bank at the they're not in the real estate ownership business, right? You guys heard everybody say this in the past. Like they don't want to own real estate, they just want to lend money and collateralize it. So know this, that they don't want to take the property back. So they're not in the business of trying to foreclose on us. So I only say that a personal guarantee does not really like it's not that big of a deal in the end of the day. Like I've candidly personally guaranteed a lot of debt, and it's never going to come. I say never, but it's really never going to come back and bite you over the long term. So you can always position it to your limited partners as if it's never a negative, it's always a positive because it strengthens our debt. And you might even be able to negotiate. And this is where you could say to Richard, say, "Hey, look, and this is where this is just a thought." Ryan comes and says, "Hey, we really need Barbara or your limited partner to be on this debt." No problem. How about this? I'll put her on the mortgage if you knock it down by 25 basis points. Like, who knows, right? But just squeeze some juice out of it. You know, what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
What do you got to lose by asking, or by making that offer to them? You know, you never know. So that's what I always say. Like if it's a portrayed negative, it's never a negative. It's all about how you reframe it and put it back on the bank or your limited partner or the insurance company or the attorney, whoever, to make sure that like you're in control. Like you're always in control of the offer, and you can say, "Look, this is talking to Barbara. Like this is a positive. This is a blessing. You personally guaranteeing this says we're able to knock off 25 basis points. It's going to make more cash flow for our business. This is a no-brainer, right?" When in reality you feel like, "Oh shit, this is a bad move because I gotta ask my partner to be on this." No, you're making this offer. You go to the bank and you say, "Look, I might introduce my partner on this if you're willing to knock down the cost of the debt." Okay, fine, we'll do it. Boom. Then you go to your partner. "Hey, I was just negotiating with my banker. When we're on this deal together, you just assume it. It's like an assumed close. They're even willing to knock off 25 basis points." It's just like it's like all sales, right? So nothing is negative for all of us here. Nothing is negative. It's always about how you reframe it to be a positive for all of us together to accomplish and win. Does that make sense?
That's huge. Yeah, I love that. That's huge.
Think about it like that. It's never negative. Yeah.
Thank you for that. That's huge. That's a big lesson for all of us.
Just a thought to think about that. Yeah. So continue on. Just saying that. Yeah.
No, I love it. So I didn't do a global email to all the parties because I've just kind of been talking to everybody individually, but in the future I'll probably do that. Just kind of get everybody on a group email, because it just kind of happened onesie twosie, if you will. So so Ryan, once we get that information from Barbara, Ryan's his bank doesn't do a term sheet because he's already underwritten this deal. He's already seen the lease. He's seen the tenant's financials. We got a tenant in this building signed up 11/1. We didn't do that. The seller did it. And then they've got strong financials there. They've got a government contract. They signed a 5-year triple net lease, so everything looks good from our perspective. Yeah, and so the bank loves that. He doesn't even have to take to his committee, he said. They don't have to approve it. He's just got to get information. And he said they don't even do a term sheet. He said, I'll just give you the numbers, and if you're good with it, we'll back it up. We're good. We'll rock and roll.
Sick.
So that's kind of where we are with him. Earnest money's already been submitted by my limited partner, Barbara. She did that, so no money out of my pocket, which was nice. We just kind of, Zane and I talked about it. I just approached her like, this is how we do it. I didn't even ask her if she wanted to do it.
Nice.
So she's doing the earnest money.
There you go.
So kind of doing what you just said, Nolan, kind of assuming the positive and just kind of rocking with it. So we're in the due diligence period right now. Ours is only 30 days. We're trying to get it done by the end of the year, which is going to be a stretch, because we got to wait on the title company and the appraiser and inspection and all that. But hoping we can get close to that at least. We're trying to do that for Barbara since she's doing this for tax purposes, deploying her money. She's bringing 20%, by the way, as a down payment. But I did a little work on the title today, in that I've kind of spoken with Ryan over at Millennial about, he said, look, that's really the biggest thing holding us up. So we got to get rock and rolling. So that's kind of where we are now, trying to push everything forward. So once we get Barbara's stuff, then we can get the title and the appraisal, all that moving fast. And then let's see, I haven't set up the P&L Google sheet yet. I can't really do that until I get the numbers from Ryan at the bank, but we kind of know where they're going to fall. At least we hope we do. I'm anxious to see how it matches up to our in our folder, Zane, our numbers we've run so far. So hopefully,
I'm interested too.
Yeah, everything will check out. So the PNC, as I mentioned, I've already got two folks quoting that out for me.
Nice.
Both of them tell me they can get me a good deal. We'll see.
That's right.
I've already got the lease from the seller. There weren't any title exceptions that I know of. I asked my broker to ask the seller if I could meet the tenant. I haven't met the tenant yet. He said, well, some sellers are a little quirky. They may not have told their tenant they're selling yet. And I understand that. I said, well, if we can, that's how we like to do business. I like to put a name with a face, shake hands, talk about it if it works out. So that's kind of what I asked for today. Again, the lease has already been signed and going forward. I was going to ask you about the one thing I saw on here that I'd seen before, but I didn't really know what it was until I Googled it today, which is the tenant estoppel certificate. I know that's probably for the bank. Do I really need that if I've already got a lease?
No, get it anyways. It's not for the bank. It's for you. It's
okay.
Give it to the bank anyway. It's a box to check, but the tenant estoppel truly is for you, and to confirm that there's no side handshakes between the existing landlord and the existing tenant. Meaning, let's say that this is a crazy example, but like the landlord is an uncle and the tenant is a cousin. And he says, hey, I'm about to sell this building. Once we sell this, I'm going to have this lease that says it's $5 a foot. But once I sell this building, I'm going to give you $100,000 of the purchase price. You want to pay rent for a year, right? Or whatever, like something silly like that. So the tenant estoppel basically just says, is there any side deals going on right now? Does anybody have any side handshakes on anything? Or, hey, if you improve it, that was a silly one, but what if the landlord says, hey, when I close this deal, I'm going to go and knock out some of that office in order for you to put some more product in that space. If you actually do that, I'm going to give you 3 months off of rent or whatever. If you pay for the knockout of that office, right? That's not in the lease, but it's an agreement between the landlord and the tenant. So for you, the kicker is to have that information that says, hey, when I close this deal, there's nothing else going on. And that's okay if there is, right? But you just need to be aware of it. Because then when you close the deal, then that guy can't come back and say, well, actually, I had this 3. No, you didn't. You signed an agreement that said you did not. There was no side handshakes. Or if there was, that needs to be incorporated into the purchase agreement, or you need to renegotiate the purchase price or the terms of the deal, right?
Right.
It just allows everything to be transparent before conveyance is happening on the title of the policy. Does that make sense?
What do I get?
So it's really for you, Richard, not the bank is
okay.
It's a box to check for the bank, but it's really for you to understand like the intrinsic knowledge of the relationship with the landlord and the tenant.
Makes sense. Where do I get that certificate or form?
Oh, dude, I've got one. I can send it to you. You can, it's really just like it's like a 1-pager. It's not even like an official notarized document. It's just like hey, you guys got anything sideways right now or any extra information? Nope. perfect, sign it, good to go. And it's just
All right.
like something that's a part of the package at closing.
Okay, great. Yeah, that'd be great if you can shoot that to me.
100%.
Yep. All right. So where are we, Zane?
But before you move forward, Richard, I want to
Oh.
make, does anybody have like, as we're going along this, like, does someone have a thought or question on this as what Richard's going through? Like, again, Richard's in the thick right now. He's about to close this thing, hopefully by the end of the year. Does someone have like a question about what he's doing or a certain thing that he could be doing better or worse or anything on their mind before he keeps rolling?
Yeah, I'm all ears. I need all the help I can get.
All right, keep rolling, dude. That's awesome.
No, I'll add something
Oh, yeah.
real quick. Just
Yeah, Eric, go ahead.
Go ahead. Eric's got something.
yeah, just from a real estate agent's perspective. And again, real estate's different per state. If y'all are in Alabama, it's gonna be different than in Texas. But absolutely on the estoppel certificates, like always get that
Yes.
for exactly what he said. And not to beat a dead horse, but for sure, like make sure that's important. But then number two, one thing I did want to throw out there, and Nolan, I mean, feel free to completely disagree, and I'm totally cool if that's the case. But if there is a if money is a little tight on getting some of these things written up with an attorney, I don't mean like reviewing reviewing your whole deal. I just mean like if you have a note that needs to be written for the owner financing portion, and that needs to be like written out by an attorney. I've done a few of those like for other clients, not for myself. This one will actually be the first one I've done by myself. But title companies, y'all close at a title company in Alabama,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
Okay. So title companies are typically owned by attorneys, and depending on what title company relationship you have, you can talk to those guys and say, hey, we will close at your title company if your attorney will write our agreement for us.
Right.
And that
Right.
can save you it could save you, a grand or so just by having them write y'all's agreement between each other. And it's because it's not representing either one of you. It's just a general, note agreement. So, and then they can do all the filing as the title company and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, just something to throw out there. I've found several title companies around here that they're just looking to close a deal. And if it takes their attorney 30 minutes to write a document to get the deal, at their title company, then they'll do it that way. So anyway, just thought I'd throw it out there.
No, that's
So-
good because that actually came
Yeah.
up today about the title company. And what came out was the seller offered that, why don't we just use the same title company we used when we bought this property last year? They've already done it. They've got it, whatever. And so I asked Brian Nolan, the attorney we're working with now, should we just use these guys? What do you think? And I haven't heard back from him yet, but I don't know. So that actually came up today. That's helpful information, Eric. Thanks.
No,
Yep,
that's
for sure.
that's good to know. Good thought. And any way you can negotiate anything, it's always worth it. 1000% agreed.
Well, and I'm following Nolan's guidance on this too. I haven't paid anybody for any of these agreements yet. I'm just going to roll it into the loan.
That's right. That's right.
And so I don't want to come out of pocket any money if I don't have to.
That's right.
Not right now.
Good strategy.
Yep.
And you've already approved that with a lender on the front end.
Right.
Where-
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. You already got the attorneys to draw up the entities, right?
Yep.
Okay. Inspection. Where are we at on that?
That's coming up next. I haven't done that yet. So I was actually going to talk to Ryan about that. I think he mentioned he's got an inspection company he recommended.
Okay. Retrade price of defects after inspection, right? So you'll get there.
Yep.
This is like in the case where, you can renegotiate and then come in and negotiate seller financing after getting it under contract. And no one's done that before, but you can also, of course, we recommend trying to do that on the front end too. But
Each scenario
on this
is
particular
unique.
deal, I don't think that we're gonna.
Yeah, each deal is unique because sometimes it just depends. If you tie the deal up out of the gate, sometimes after you get a chance to tie it up, you speak with the seller, then they're way more open-minded because they're like, okay, I'm actually going to close. Or other times, some people are way more motivated, like, hey, we're making an offer and it has the seller financing opportunity. Okay, well, it just depends on the deal. So this portion of seller financing can be moved up and down inside of the blueprint. So just to be fair.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, we'll skip over to traditional financing. We're almost there. So we've already kind of went over a bunch of the stuff about with the lenders and everything. We already raised the money from the investors, term sheet, tenant estoppel, all that, LLP agreement. Okay, so this is where it starts getting close to closing, and we'll get here pretty soon, Richard. And you already have the date, in mind and everything on the calendar for closing and everything.
Yeah, it's going to be the week of Christmas, which would be weird. So hopefully that'll work out like that Monday or Tuesday of Christmas week,
Yeah.
Oh man,
if we can make it happen.
That's gonna be tight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be real tight. So I don't know that it's going to happen, but we're shooting for it. We'll see.
So, anyways, this is where the LP wires funds a week before closing. So, of course,
Go,
this is
go
a
up
little
first, Zane. Go to 47. You open an LLP working account. Like that's what I recommend, especially like at Millennial. Like Richard should open up a working capital account that's, puts $5,000 in that account just to open it up. And then that's where the rents come from. That's where the debt service comes from. That's where the LP disbursements come from, all that kind of stuff. Like that's, and then what happens once that account's open, that's where your LP will wire the funds into that working capital account. And then when you go to close, that's where the money comes from that account.
Yep.
Yeah, great. Yeah, and then she literally, I think she just signed this agreement like 10 minutes ago on this call, right, Richard?
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Which is awesome. So then, of course, get your LP to call up the title company before wiring the funds, make sure that they have all the right information and everything.
Right.
And then PNC insurance policy, which you'll get there eventually, Richard.
Yep.
Working on that.
Yep.
Receive HUD, close statement. I'm not super well versed on all the closing stuff. If you guys want to chime in.
That's just the stuff that happens at closing with all the statements.
Yeah.
That we'll get a chance to review that, before we sign everything.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Quick
Yep.
question, guys. With the LLP account, can you do the same thing as if it was an LLC? Or
Yes,
do you
yes. LLLP was what my one of attorney recommended out of the gate. In the another attorney now recommends LLCs. Now look, it's all different. The reason why at the time that I put LLLP, a limited liability, limited partnership, was because my partner on one of the deals was a group at the time. So I was the general partner and my other limited partner was a group of 3 individuals. He's like, dude, you really need to do an LLLP. So candidly at the time I need to update this, but an LLC is the highest recommended entity to purchase real estate in. So unless you have a unique circumstance, and obviously Brian Cloud or any other of our attorneys can recommend that to you. Is that fair? Or good to
Yeah,
say?
when you guys go to apply for those or set them up, in my experience in the past, it's taken a few weeks for them to set up my EIN. So, like your number to allow you to create a company bank account. Is there a way to expedite that? Or like, is there a certain time where you suggest to create that LLC in the process?
It shouldn't take that long. My
not,
attorney,
yeah.
Brian Cloud, in this case, he got it done in a couple of days.
You got it
I
done
was
a couple
gonna
days.
say, a
Okay.
couple weeks is crazy.
Yeah.
That's you should be
I
able to
also
get
did
it
mine
done
through.
on like 48 hours.
Yeah, I did mine through LegalZoom. The
That's
two
why.
that I created, so they probably were just, taking their sweet time. So that makes sense. Just get an attorney to do it.
Yep.
It's definitely cheaper to go that route, and I've actually done that in the past. So I don't necessarily not recommend that, but also too having an attorney do it all, you're shifting risk over to somebody else by paying by paying an attorney. Because if something goes sideways or whatever, oh, the EIN or the documents, it's called a Scribner note. If you ever heard of that before, where if something goes sideways on a document, a Scribner, it's a Scribner improvement or whatever. When the attorney messes up, it doesn't come out of anybody's pocket. It's on them. Like you've shifted risk to somebody else. And in my opinion, that's valuable to pay for. It's valuable to pay to shift risk to other people. Like you pay a couple of extra bucks for an attorney instead of LegalZoom, but LegalZoom sends you a 1-800 number. Like some of these attorneys will give you their cell, you know? So that's my personal opinion. And yeah, does it cost maybe an extra $300 or $400? Yes, but you're also creating a relationship with that guy that's going to be more valuable when you hit him up for an idea. He's not going to bill you or bang you for some time on his retainer, you know? That's what I've discovered, at least.
Mhm. Gotcha.
All right,
Yeah, and in this case,
finish
just
this thing up.
since you asked about it,
Yeah.
since we're talking about this, Brian recommended that we set up a limited liability partnership. And we named that the property address. And then each of us, my limited partner Barbara and I, have our own LLCs that feed into that or
Sure.
get underneath that, if you will.
Awesome. Well, that's the whole phase two.
Yep.
And if anybody has any thoughts or anything that we missed or gaps or anything, of course, we're all ears. But I think we kind of handled everything, I'm pretty sure.
So far, so good.
All right,
Knock on
number
wood.
one, I need some more enthusiasm out of Zane. I feel like he's just like out here, just like, you know, be popping around. I need some enthusiasm, baby. Come on. It's Christmas time. We got to
We're
get
doing it.
going. Come on.
Let's go. We're really
Dial
doing
it
it. Let's
in.
go.
Come on. No.
He's been great. No,
As
he's
we get
been great.
rolling, as we get rolling, is anybody? I know we had a good crew tonight. Does anybody have any thoughts or questions as we get rolling for the evening? Like I said, I'll always, of course, upload this to school and send this out to everybody. Anybody got anything as we kind of get rolling? I would like to do another call next week. Let me see. Next Thursday is the 18th. Obviously, the Thursday after that is Christmas. And then the next day after that is New Year's Eve. So let's do, how about this for everybody? Let's do another call next week. And also what Zane and I are working on right now, and we'll send this out to everybody, but we're working on what we call our Respark for 2026. And there were some guys that are on here already that, Richard, you might have been on there. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to
I
recall.
was.
But we did Resparker 2025. And very simply, we're just trying to get people fired up again for going into 2026. And let's re-spark all of us to going into the new year with some action. So next week, we'll maybe talk a little bit more about what that looks like. We'll take Christmas and New Year's off, and then we'll get rolling into January. But the Respark call in the group basically will be like a 45-minute call. It will, and everyone's invited to it, but we're going to go as a group through the boot camp again as a whole team from the very beginning for everybody, whether you're brand new or whether you've been in our group since the very beginning. It doesn't matter. But it's basically going to get everybody all on the same page and getting the wheels turning, the compounding started. So we'll talk more about that next week. But man, we're just crazy excited to have everybody on here. Anybody have anything else as we're getting ready to roll for the end of the night? Awesome. All right. Well, we appreciate everybody being on. I'm going to upload. I'll upload this over here to YouTube here shortly. Anything else that you have, you always know you can call us, text us, whatever's on your mind. Crazy excited for what we're going to be doing going into the next year and everything. And we'll see everybody next week. Merry Christmas. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Later, guys.
Thanks, guys. See ya.